Okay, so we're going to begin looking at Module 1. And the best way to approach these modules is after going into the module, you want to take a look at the objectives. The objectives are extremely important. These are the goals that you will have for learning the important information in the chapter. You can be assured that if I ask you to define a term like character literal or to define a term like string, you will need to know those terms. They will appear in quizzes, they will appear in exams. If we move down, you'll notice here we have, in addition to definitions, I want you to have an understanding of how to do things, how to create and initialize strings, how to use the length method and the character at method for strings and so forth. So you're going to want to read each one of the objectives. This will give you an idea again of the goals, and then in the readings you want to kind of pluck out these important concepts that you saw in the objectives. Taking notes is an extremely important thing, not only in class but also as you start working. You'll be dealing with customers. The customers will start talking to you. Don't expect to remember everything that they said, and you definitely don't want to go back repeatedly and ask for clarifications or them to repeat themselves again. So we want to be proactive in understanding what the material is and also taking notes on it so that we can go back to the important points. After you do the readings, the next thing that you want to do is you want to go to the class slides. Basically, you want to work through the class activities from the top to the bottom. You can skip the textbook slides. These are all of the slides that the textbook provides you with. Right here are the class slides. So the class slides are the ones that I'm going to focus on because they cover the objectives. With that said, I'm going to move into the first set of class slides. You'll notice that we can download those or we could preview them. I'll go ahead and I'll download the slides. And I'm going to open up these slides. Okay, so obviously I'd run through the slides one by one. Okay, in addition to the slides, before I move forward, notice after the slide deck appears, you will also have some demonstrations and some practices. What the demonstrations are is there will be places in the slides that I will stop and I will say, let's look at a demonstration. So to kind of get ourselves prepared for when that happens, I'm going to download the demonstration as well. Click on the demonstration, it takes me here, and notice it tells me that this code demonstrates the process of creating a string using constructors and so forth. So here we're going to find the length and the character at method, which are two things that we're going to talk about in the slides. I click on the zip file, we'll download that. It looks like I've got a block here put on the, allow that. Try it again. From here, I'm going to show it in the folder, and I'm going to extract this. And instead of extracting to the downloads folder, instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over here. I'm going to put it in Documents, NetBeans Projects, and I'll put it in the default NetBeans Projects folder. Okay, so I'll select the NetBeans folder, and I'm going to click Extract. Now, as a result of what I've just done, you'll notice that I can go to Documents, NetBeans Projects, and in here I should see the demo chapter 14 strings, right? So that's basically the name of the extracted folder. I can go inside of here, and you'll notice sometimes I have created a secondary folder, but you'll notice this is an entire NetBeans project right here. In order to take the NetBeans project and open it in NetBeans, for that purpose, basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to open up my NetBeans. Seems I don't have a shortcut for it, so just all. Okay, from here, I can click the Open button. And you'll notice I end up in my NetBeans project folder. Okay, if I'm not, I go to Documents, I go to NetBeans Projects, because that's where I just, double click past there. Here. And inside of the NetBeans project folder, here is where the demo 14 strings is. As I mentioned, there was a folder inside of a folder, so this is the project file. You can see the coffee cup, and I'll click the project. And over here to the right, I'll see there's chapter 14 strings. You'll notice inside of here, there's a package that contains a variety of different Java files. These will come into play when we go through our presentation. So now let's go back to the presentation. Okay. In the presentation, I talk about the different slides, and I'll talk about those in the next presentation. But notice when I get to here, I'm starting to actually talk about what the methods are. And then after discussing the methods, you'll notice right here, you're going to see it says demonstration demo strings. And if I go back to NetBeans and I take a look here, there is the package called demo strings. So within this package are all of the various files that we're going to be using to explain the concepts we just covered. So within that package, we would see the length at and the character at, and possibly some other things. Okay, so the demonstrations I will be going through in various videos. Okay, I'll explain in the slideshows what these different concepts are. I'll do the demos, and then hopefully you'll have a better understanding of what exactly is going on with each of the concepts. As always with the concepts, if you have questions, please do not wait to ask. You can send me emails if you're working on this late at night. Usually I'm not up too late at night, so you'll find that I get back to you usually next day, within 2 days, definitely. All right, so that's it as far as giving you the quick overview of what this is all going to look like. The last thing that I wanted to just kind of hit is if we go back to our modules, you'll want to go through each one of these demos as I do, and then there's a practice exercise. It's worth no points, but this will give you a very good idea as to whether you understand the concepts well enough to move forward and do the graded work. Do not skip over the basic, the practice exercises, because they are for reinforcement. Okay, once you've done the practice exercises, okay, once you have a good handle on these, then I think it's time, after you do it for all of them, then it's time to come down to the bottom and then look at the student assignments. These are the graded assignments. So you'll notice you have a lot of legwork to do before you get to the student assignments, before you get anything that requires grading. One of the biggest mistakes that I see students make is they'll not do the reading, and then they might look at a couple of these things and then try to jump down and do the student assignments, and the work reflects that. So if you spend time doing the non-graded work, you're laying the foundation for understanding what you need to do for the student assignments, and usually there aren't questions. Okay, additional practice just provides you with additional information. One of the things that you'll find in this particular chapter is that I do provide additional practice, but in other chapters, you probably will not see additional practice. I generally don't use that section unless there's a good reason. Okay, so here, the reason that I have additional practice, you don't need to understand the whole concept of character encoding, but I do provide you with a basic ability to understand how character coding works, where there's a conversion program that you can look up character coding and so forth. So in some chapters, you'll see this. Non-essential, it's not something that I will test you on, but again, good for understanding, and it will serve you well as you move forward in becoming a computer programmer, because Character encoding is something that you're going to see not only in Java, but you're going to see other places as well. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check back for the next one where I'll actually talk about working through strings, and then the final one in this chapter where we'll work with String Builder.